Welcome. Let's start this practice with our legs crossed and the left leg being in front for now. Okay, let's get situated, the flesh of the bum out of the way behind. Inhale, take a deep breath in, a nice sun breath. Exhale, release the arms to the sides. Inhale, reach the arms up. Let's leave them there and climb this imaginary ladder up to the sky. So reaching with one arm and then the other. You let your head and shoulders just sway a bit side to side. Eventually start reaching forward and then reach down, plugging your hands into the earth, or maybe walking your fingers further away from you until you feel a nice gentle stretch on the back of the hips. And walk the hands back in. Returning upright, we inhale the arms up once again. And now we'll start twisting. So exhale, just twist gently to your right. Inhale, the arms float back up. And exhaling, we twist to the left. Inhale up. And exhale, we twist to the right. This time, let's hold. Your left hand could hold your right knee. The right hand can plug into the earth, giving you more lift in the spine. Maybe turning to gaze over that back shoulder and making sure the shoulders are staying nice and soft here. Allow the left elbow to bend and the shoulder to dip towards your left knee. That right arm just floats up. A little freestyle movement here. So let your shoulder move a bit and let your arm bend, the elbow, the wrist, the fingers. Just take it into whatever movement feels nice to the joints. And then eventually you end up with that arm truly reaching overhead in a full side bend. Breathe deep, feel the entire side of the rib cage and waist and hip. And then with your next exhale, let that right hand come down and take hold of the left knee. So we're holding both knees. Draw navel to spine, so you're rounding your back. Let chin drop to the chest. Feel that stretch along the back. And then begin to unfurl the spine. You come up towards neutral, and then as you begin to arch, let go of your knees and instead touch your shoulders, or maybe you feel like wrapping the palms for more intensity here. But let the elbows rise, let your gaze rise. And then let the arms separate, and like a fountain, the fingers just flutter back down to the earth. And then we extend that left leg out. So facing just the true front, not facing your leg, but the true front hinge from the hips so that you feel an inner thigh stretch on that left side. We'll just walk the hands out. And then walk them back in. And then turn to face that leg that's straight. Again, hinging from the hips as if you could lay your belly on your thigh, Now walk the hands down your leg, letting them land wherever you feel a nice hamstring stretch, whether it's your thigh, your shin, or your foot. And we'll spin those arms around and let the right hand plug into the earth. Left arm reach for the sky as the hips lift. You could take a little freestyle movement with that left arm now, like we did with the right. Circle through the shoulder, just let those joints get a little lubrication here. And then eventually you let that arm reach overhead, maybe even turning a bit so that your gaze and your heart is looking at the sky. Releasing, we can sit back down. We'll bring the legs back into cross position. Let's let the right leg be in front this time. You get situated so we're sitting right in front of the sit bones. Inhale, reach the arms up. Once again, we're climbing to the sky. And then beginning to reach forward. And then land on the earth, continuing to walk the hands forward until you feel that stretch of the low back and hips. And you'll likely notice that one side is tighter than the other. This is definitely my tighter side. Yeah, we'll walk the hands back in. And then a little twisting here to help wake up. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, we'll twist to the left. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, we twist to the right. Inhale, up. Exhale, we twist to the left. This time, let's hold. So holding onto that left knee, plugging the back hand into the earth, rising through the crown of the head, but softening the shoulders as we turn to gaze over the back shoulder. Let's bend the right elbow and dip the shoulder towards the knee as the left arm reaches up overhead. Maybe you do a little freestyle movement if you need to, or maybe you're ready now to just go right into that side bend. Either way, breathe deeply and just notice what you feel on the left side of the waist, left side of the ribs. Eventually, let that hand reach down and take hold of the right knee. So the arms are crossed, navel to spine, round the low back. Let your chin drop. Feel the contraction in the front body and the release in the back body. Begin to unfurl that spine. And as you're coming upright, leave the knees, maybe give yourself a hug or maybe wrap your palms, but let the elbows continue to rise. You'll find a little arch in the upper back as you gaze to the sky. And then the arms separate like a fountain. The fingers flutter back to the earth. Then extend the right leg out long. We'll hinge forward from the hips, so you're hinging in between, in this gap in between the legs. And then you change that direction so that you are actually facing the straight leg and hinge forward, walking your hands down your leg to find that spot that's a comfortable hold where you can awaken the back of the leg. And we'll spin the arms around so that left hand can land behind you, right arm reaching for the sky. And let's lift the hips up. Maybe then let that arm reach overhead and open up your heart to the sky. Let your gaze look up. And then lower back down. Now we'll change our position so that we can come into a tabletop. So hands and knees. And let's allow the hands to be just a little in front of and wider than the shoulders. So we're getting a little wider base of support here. You might like to do that with your knees as well. We'll take a couple little arch and curl movements. On the inhale, letting the head and tail rise. Exhaling, navel to spine, the tailbone drops down. Once more, letting your breath and your body flow together. And then maybe this feels great and you want to stay right here, do so. Or if you'd like to embellish this motion, a couple of suggestions I'll throw out is to create some hip circles with this. So letting your hips shift over to one side and then to the back, to the other side and forward. And you let your arms bend as you do this so that you're letting pretty much every joint in your body get some movement here. And you might also like to create some barrel rolls by letting your torso shift from side to side as you do the arch and curl. So those are two options. And then eventually you might want to put all of those options together in a little freestyle movement where you just move intuitively and loosen up all of your joints here. And then eventually, let's make our way back into a standard tabletop. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and a neutral spine. And then let's extend that right leg out long And then bend the knee, draw the knee towards the elbow. So we're taking a little bit of a crunch on the belly, release on the backside, but then extend it long again. Begin to lift that leg high. Peel the right hip open over the left. Maybe let your knee bend. It's as if you're trying to let your big toe touch your left shoulder. And then return to the extension. And the knee comes back in towards the elbow. And then we set it down. And the left knee now. So let's extend the leg long. Draw the knee in towards the elbow. Return it out long. Begin to lift it higher and higher, and then peel that hip open. Let the knee bend. Imagine you could touch your right shoulder with your big toe. Release to the extension. Knee towards elbow. And then back to that tabletop position. And from here, let's walk the hands forward so we can create a nice puppy stretch, leaving the hips stacked over the knees, but allowing the forehead and chest to sink towards the earth. Maybe stay here, or maybe convert this into an extended child's pose, letting your hips sink over the heels. Breathing slow and deep, just feeling that breath move down the back side of the body. Shifting into a tabletop once again. And we'll take a low lunge. So if you have blocks, maybe you'd like to use the blocks, or if you have wrist issues, you might prefer to come onto your fists, or you could even plug your fingertips to give you a little more height. But I want to bring that right foot outside of the right hand. So whatever position you need to help achieve that. And then scoot the left knee back a bit. And then you'll have room to let your hips dip down and rise up. Just dipping and rising here. We're slowly coaxing them to open up. And once they feel a little more pliable, let's scoot the left hand over to the left a bit more. Walk the right foot just a bit to the right, and then angle the toes and the knees out, just the right knee outward. So you're going to land on this left hand, sweep the right arm out and up as you're angling both your gaze and heart towards the sky. Maybe you stay right here, or maybe you'd like to bend that back leg, reach behind, just see if you can catch your foot. And then you have a total front body stretch here. And release. Slowly make your way back into that tabletop. And then we'll try the other side, which will likely be a very different experience. So we'll place that left foot outside of the hands. Scoot the right knee back a bit more. And then let your pelvis drop down and rise up, down and up. And then we'll hold. Let's walk the right hand a little more out to the right, the left foot out a little more to the left, and then angle the toes and knee. Then we're ready to sweep that left arm out and up. And return your heart to the sky. Maybe stay here. Maybe bend that back leg and catch your foot and create a deeper opening in the front body. Release back into a tabletop. Maybe wiggle your hips, wiggle your shoulders if you need to recalibrate there. And then let's bring the right knee up by the right hand. This is called a half pigeon. We'll scoot the foot over to the left and have a seat on that right hip. So now we have to line this one up. So your front shin is in line, it's parallel to the top of your mat. And then that left leg is also out at a 90-degree angle. So your left shin is parallel to the long edge of your mat. And then we'll walk our hands in front of that right shin. If this is difficult, you could put a blanket or a cushion, a little pillow underneath you to sit on, makes it a nice modification. But let's come on to the fingertips and then inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, walk the hands forward any amount. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you come down to your forearms, or maybe you'd like to stack your fists and let your forehead rest on your hands. If your forehead is resting on the hands, you could rock the head a bit side to side. Give the muscles in the forehead a little massage. Begin to lift that head, return onto your hands. And let's walk the hands over to the right, a little semicircle here, and look over the right shoulder, finding a low twist. Walk the hands forward once again, returning to where they were, and then lift your hips so that you can extend that right leg straight back behind you and lay on your belly. Now the left leg stays where it is. So the knee is out from the hip. The foot is still in line with the knee. And once you get settled, see if you can nudge that left knee a little further away from you, and then rest and breathe here. You lift the head, come on to the elbows, and we'll thread a needle into a twist here. So take that right arm and thread it across your body so that you can lay down onto that right shoulder, and then let your left arm sweep up and behind you so that you're just slowly pulling yourself into a nice, relaxed, somewhat floppy twist here. Okay, so no effort involved in holding this stretch. Allowing the breath to flow where it will. And then when you're ready to come out, let that elbow bend, your fingers touching your shoulder. And then slowly drag your fingers across your chest and the other arm. You'll be slowly pulling yourself out of this twist. And you let that left arm reach out beyond the right arm. And then pause again here. And if we place that left hand back in close to the body, you can shift yourself around and return into a tabletop position. Again, you might want to wiggle your shoulders and hips before going to the other side if you need to recalibrate a bit. And then when ready, let's bring that left knee up and the foot over to the right and have a seat on that left hip. And then line up the shins. Left shin is parallel to the short side of the mat. Right shin parallel to the long side of the mat. So we have 90-degree angles. Hands in front of that left shin. Well, let's inhale, lengthen the spine. And then exhale, walk the hands forward, coming to your comfort zone of hinging from the hip and settling in. As you hold here, allow the jaw to relax. Let go of any gripping in your neck or shoulders. You use the minimum amount of effort needed to stay in this stretch. Then we lift the head up, return the hands to the mat, walking them over to the left in a little curve so that we find a nice low twist. Return the hands forward. We lift up the hips so that we can scooch that right leg back long, extending it out so we can lay on the belly. And then once situated, maybe nudge that right knee out a little further, allowing the hip crease to sink more towards the earth. And rest here. When ready, come up onto the elbows. And then we'll thread ourselves into a twist. So left arm reaching across to the right. We'll drop onto that left shoulder. And then as you let the right arm reach to the sky and reach back behind you, you will pull yourself into a lovely little relaxed twist. Resist the effort. Resist the need to put effort into the stretch. Just let go. Now let's let that right elbow bend. Fingers touch the shoulder and then slowly they move across the body as you drag yourself out of this twist. Letting that right hand reach further than the left and pausing here. You can release back a bit, and then from this position, let's just roll onto the back. We'll have the legs bent and the knees bent, feet to the earth, arms at the sides, and slowly roll the hips up. So we're heading towards a bridge pose here. Maybe you roll onto the tops of your shoulders. And that way you could perhaps interlace your fingers behind your back. Maybe you could take hold of your feet or your pant legs and then root down through the heels especially and through the tops of the shoulders and rise up through the hip creases. Maybe even tuck your tailbone slightly just to prevent an over extension of the low back. And then press sternum bone towards your chin, so we're compressing the throat area but lengthening the back of the neck. And with the next inhale, just let the arms reach overhead. Let them anchor down into the earth. And from that anchored position, on an exhale, we begin to release one vertebrae at a time, as if you could feel it making an imprint into the sand. And continue to leave the arms overhead, even once you've allowed the sacrum to touch down. Breathe deeply here and watch where the breath goes. And then release the arms. Let them find your thighs, and you can scoop your knees into the chest as a counter pose. Maybe the knees stay here, or maybe you'd like to allow them to separate, coming to your shoulders. Or you might even like to take hold of your feet and open the legs into a happy baby. And then bring the soles of the feet together and press the heels towards the groin. You let the arms do the work so the legs get to relax. Release your feet, set them down, stretch them out long, stretch the arms overhead. The total body stretch now, reaching through the right limbs, through the left limbs, wiggling fingers and toes. And then let your legs stretch out a little wider, like they're in a V. And the feet, the toes, the knees just fall out to the sides. Let your arms reach out like a T and actually pull your arms further away from your torso, palms facing up, and then let them relax into the earth. Your eyes close. And for just a moment now, completely let go.